Hi there, this is your friend Anna, and the question that I've been getting the most from all of my friends is, what are we wearing? This age-old question isn't just about choosing an outfit, it's about choosing how we present ourselves to the world. I created the I Want Her Shoes podcast to dive deep into what it means to dress with intention, whether you're heading to a council meeting or just having a casual day out with your family. Join the conversation as we explore the power of personal style and the decisions that shape our public personas. Put on your favorite pair of shoes and step into my closet. All right, welcome back to the I Want Her Shoes podcast, where we explore ambition, reinventions, resilience, and the women building lives and businesses on their own terms. I'm your host, Anna Anisin, and today's conversation is about something every entrepreneur and honestly every woman has experienced at some point, is starting over, right? Because success rarely follows a straight line. Never. That does not happen. And sometimes it means losing everything before you build the thing you were actually meant to create. And today's guest knows that better than most people. And before becoming the CEO and founder of Max Retail, Melodie Baan, right?
That's right.
Skipped college, built a career in real estate as a teenager, lost everything during the house crash, sold designer clothing out of a van, right? And opened her own boutique and eventually created a tech platform she wished she had as a retailer.
That's right.
That is so cool. And today, Max Retail is helping boutiques and brands turn unsold inventory into opportunity, changing the way fashion industry thinks about resale. This conversation isn't just about retail. It's about resilience, reinvention, entrepreneurship, and having the courage to solve the problem that really keeps you up awake at night as a business owner, right? Well, it's so nice to have you here, Melodie.
Well, thank you for having me in this beautiful, beautiful shoe closet.
Thank you. And before we dive in, I always ask our guests, where are you local? How did you end up in South Florida? Tell me a little bit about your story.
Lucky for me, I was raised here in South Florida, and it's just become cooler and cooler every decade.
Yes, cheers to that.
So now I am in North Palm Beach, which is just a little bit north of West Palm Beach, and living my best life with my husband and 2 kids and my startup.
That's amazing. I love that. And I'm actually going to check it out too, because it seems like a cool place to live.
For sure.
And your career has taken so many unexpected turns. Looking back, was there one moment when you realized your path was never going to look conventional?
I had moved out of my house when I was 16 years old. So I grew up much faster.
Right. That will do it.
That will absolutely do it. And while still going to high school, I was working 2 to 3 jobs. And by the time I graduated high school, I didn't feel like my peers, and I just couldn't grasp the thought of going and living in a dorm room after I had been on my own with these people my age who hadn't had enough life experience to really be on the same page as me. And it was just, I felt different. And between feeling so different, almost alienated from my peers, and not knowing what I wanted to do, I thought, how can I go and commit to 4 years before knowing what I truly want to do with my life? And so I took an unconventional path, and instead I got a real estate license, which took a whopping 2 days to get a real estate license. Much easier than 4 years of college. That's right.
Wow, in California, it takes some crazy. I did it too in my early 20s, and it took like 6 months of going to night classes and stuff there to do it. But here it's 2 days.
That's
awesome.
correct. Yes.
And what did this entrepreneurship and just doing that teach you that the classroom never could?
Well, I think when I was in class, teachers wished that I was sleeping because otherwise I was just talking. And so I drove everyone nuts. And I think what I learned over time is that I'm a kinesthetic learner, right? There's audio, visual, and kinesthetic. I learn by doing. And how that's played out in my life is learning the hard way and really just getting my hands dirty at every opportunity and making mistakes and being okay with that. And that never fits in a regular classroom mold.
Right.
And I was able to understand that once I was out of high school and really starting to make my own mistakes and find my own way.
Well, I think that's an awesome way to look at it. I know that you lost everything during the housing crash, and that could have really ended your entrepreneurial journey, but instead it became the beginning of another one.
Absolutely.
And how did that change you? That's so cool. I mean, I feel like that is just so inspiring.
Well, when you don't go to college, in some ways you burn the boats, right? You're on land, you have no way back. And when the housing market crashed and I found all of the properties I had purchased were now being repossessed, I was turning my Mercedes back into the dealer as that was being repossessed. And I had nothing, but I also had no route back. And so I ran away to Israel for 6 months with a guy I was dating.
Nice. That's a nice little break.
That seemed like the best idea at the time. You know, I had this opportunity. He was moving there and I had nothing to lose because everything was already as good as gone. And in Israel, I came across these incredible designers on this street called Dizengoff. And I would enter these stores and be, oh my goodness, this fashion is so incredible. Where are you sold in the States? And they would say, well, we're not sold anywhere. How would we get there? And so it started with just this naive question of, well, then how do designers get into stores? How can they get in front of people? And it's quite interesting because I almost feel like looking back now, this was when I was about 20 years old that I asked that question. How do designers get in front of consumers, get in front of retailers? And I kind of think I never stopped asking that question.
Because how do they really?
Exactly. And I still solve that today, right? I solved it with my first company, which was DBC Showroom.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important lesson I learned is when you present yourself to a company, you can either apply for a job where they're going to say, where did you go to school? Or you're going to approach as a company. And people are going to say, well, what does your company do?
Right.
So Melodie, as director of sales at DBC Showroom, at 20 years old, could approach a designer and say, I'm going to place you into independent boutiques. Now, I did not know how I was going to do that, but I believed I could. And so I got designers who had nothing to lose to let me represent them. And none of them asked me where I went to college. They just wanted me to do the job I said I could do.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I know that you sold designer clothes out of a van before you opened your own boutique, trying to figure out how to do this, right? What did those years teach you about hustle, customers, and most of all, yourself?
What was interesting is it didn't start out in that beautiful Sprinter van. It started out in the back of a Saab convertible where I would load the rolling rack, a garment bag full of the samples, and drive store to store. And I learned this one call at a time.
Right.
Sitting in my kitchen at the table, picking up the phone.
This was before AI, guys, and before Google.
Way before all
of this. So there was no, like, you can't just say, like, hey, where do I find these stores, right?
Right.
You have to look like a phone book sometimes.
You had to really understand, hey, what is the right boutique for this line I have?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had to say, how am I going to reach this person? What is the right day and time and message? And when I would call and I'd say, oh, it's Melodie. I'm calling from Juju Costa. Do you want to see the collection? They would say, what are the price points? I didn't know what a price point was. I'd say, I'll call you back.
Yeah, and then you did some research and you found
I called them back. And then the next question would come and I'd say, I'll call you back. And this went on and on and on. And I just learned this one call at a time. And you can imagine my first trade show where I show up to exhibit and all of a sudden I realize there are thousands of other brands and reps. And I say, oh, gee, this is a whole thing. I didn't even know it was a thing. And can I tell you?
Because it wasn't as easy to find out back then.
No. And even now, when I see women and they're coming to a trade show for the first time and they're saying, I'm opening my store and I'm so excited. The truth is we all figured out the hard way. And they're going to have to figure out what to buy, what is a markup, what is a markdown. There really is just a rite of passage to making these mistakes when you open your store or when you start your first showroom, and no one is excused from them. It's just a matter of how fast we can grasp the concept and move on to the next.
Right. You just did it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's amazing. Why do you think the best businesses often come from personal frustration?
Well, I knew from my time as a rep, driving store to store, because the retailers would always point out to me what didn't sell from the season before. And they would say, Mel, how can you help me? The brands didn't want to take back merchandise, but if I didn't find some way to get this inventory out of the store, they wouldn't write from me again, or they would write a smaller order.
I see.
So that problem was very evident. And then when I became a retailer and suddenly I had a store and a sale rack and no one was helping me, that was when it really just haunted me as a problem. And so the reason why a founder who's experienced a problem is going to be so much more successful than a founder who hasn't lived the problem is because it's really hard to solve. And you have to be so committed to saying, I will figure this out because it is not optional. Every single retailer would come to my mind who had this problem, as well as myself. And it did take 6 years to figure out how we were going to solve the problem. My co-founder Morgan and I, we began this business in the back room of our boutique in 2016.
That's awesome.
And from there,
It takes a while.
we tried this and we tried that and we tried this and we tried that. We had our 2 children. I had 2, she had 1. So 3 children between us. We opened another boutique. We had COVID. And so we just had all these different things coming at us. And yet we never gave up. We never stopped trying because we knew the problem was so real. And finally in 2022 is when we cracked it. And we realized that this wasn't an inventory problem for these retailers. It was a distribution problem.
Sounds awesome. And for people who are not familiar with Max Retail, can you explain what exactly it does and why it matters for both retailers and consumers? And I'm all about sustainability, so I think it's a really cool thing that you're doing.
Thank you. So Max Retail is a retail tech platform that helps independent retailers and brands turn their past season inventory back into cash by helping them easily sell it online. So previously, you could be a successful retailer by being a great buyer, an amazing merchandiser, and giving awesome customer service.
Right.
But in the last 10 years, that has shifted. People are not looking up when they are out and about. They're looking down on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Their attention is distracted, and the rise of D2C brands has made it extremely hard for an independent retailer to stay top of mind for their customer because they're constantly being bombarded with ads of different products on social. So now an independent retailer has marketing as nearly an important of job as the buying itself.
Yeah, like a whole Instagram situation, right? You have to have a community, you have to have a story, a narrative. It's a lot.
TikTok, you have to keep
It's a
showing
lot,
up
yes.
and stay with the trends.
YouTube,
and-
everything.
It's
Like
a
it's
lot.
it's like a big budget.
Correct. Now think about the inventory that doesn't sell. It was always a pain. But now you have a whole nother job you need to do, and that unsold inventory is not what you want to promote. You want to promote
Right.
the new merchandise that you can sell at full price. But over here's that unsold inventory. It's about $100,000 a year for every 1,000
That's a
square
lot.
feet a retailer has.
Wow.
And with Max Retail, a click of a button in a retailer's point of sale, it sends a data feed to Max Retail where we know that retailer needs help selling it. We're
That's
going
so
to,
cool.
we're going to cleanse the data, enhance it, and create listings so that we can sell their inventory successfully online. We have our own channel. It's snaggedandbagged.com. It's absolutely amazing. I like to describe it as a Revolve and Nordstrom Rack baby, right? Like if those two came together,
I
that's
love that.
what
Sounds
Snagged
like
and Bagged would
my
look like.
best friend baby. You know, I love
Exactly.
that. That sounds great because I love both of those places, you know.
But we also partner with Poshmark, with eBay, with Shop Simon. And so there's a lot of other sites that we partner with because we know that there's different audiences for different products.
Exactly. And I think, I mean, again, that was my next question to you is about sustainability and where are we going with resale. But I feel like now there is like a huge group of people that are looking for like older stuff. They're not like interested in the new.
Correct.
So where do you see this future of resale heading? I feel like it's actually good for your business.
Yes. So resale is no longer seen as cheap. It's seen as smart.
Exactly. Yeah.
I will shop anywhere. I will shop in a boutique. I will shop in a thrift store. I mean, if it's got an open door, I'm going in.
Yes. Cheers to that.
So when we look at the next generation and how they shop, they love resale and brands need to lean in where we
They shouldn't be burning their inventory.
Absolutely
That's crazy.
not.
I mean,
Absolutely not. And especially, one of the things that I always think about is unsold inventory in stores is the most susceptible to ending up as waste because it has never even had the chance to be worn, to be loved. And yet, let's say there's a Hoka shoe sitting in the back stock of a retailer in Kansas City, Missouri. And it's been sitting there for 4 years. Why? Because the retailer doesn't want to put that last size 41 on the main floor because then customers are going to ask for it.
right.
They're going to say, oh, do you have my size? It's really tough. But at the same time, there's someone online right now looking for that
For
exact
41,
Hoka 41 because it's their favorite running shoe and Hoka doesn't make it anymore. And when that retailer signs up for Max Retail,
They will find it.
they're going to find it. And then they're going to ship that merchandise to that consumer. Everybody wins.
And then you get a cut of that.
Precisely.
Amazing.
But that's
easy, breezy.
the
It
win.
makes it easy, yeah.
Our goal is to find a home for every piece of unsold inventory so that it can be utilized and loved.
I think that's beautiful. What do you think is changing the fastest? I mean, I think it's more sustainable, like more vintage fashion is pop. You know, I feel like people are not buying as much new stuff. And I'm hoping fast fashion essentially will die down too, because I just hate it so much.
I hate it too. Here's the issue. There is always going to be a large population that cares more about the trend and how fast they can stay on trend, be the first to market on the trend. These are the people who buy fast fashion.
Like Zara's and
Correct.
Mango's and all those stuff, yeah.
That's correct. And so that would take a huge mental shift for people to say, I want quality over quantity.
Yeah, because you buy like 6 or 3 pairs of the same thing.
That's correct. And so that's like a whole mental shift, right? And so where I believe consumers are today, and I disagree with a lot of the behaviors, and I'm not quite sure how we change it. Consumers, they want it now, and they want it at the best possible price. And so when we think about people's desire to purchase, they also want to return. Returns are really painful on brands. Most people have been trained now because of sites like Amazon that they can just buy it and return it if it doesn't work. But what they don't know is most companies are not restocking those returns.
What else happens?
Palletizing them, they're burning them, they're
gosh.
liquidating them. There's a lot of bad things that happen to the merchandise we return. It is not getting consumed again. And that's why I personally refuse to
return stuff.
I do not
Return
return
it to your
things.
friend.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what I do. I love that. So, you know,
I do that too. If something doesn't work for me, I usually give it
away.
a friend or a family member.
Precisely.
It's too, I mean, like, I also feel the same way. Like, I feel like it's just a waste to return something. Unless it's, like, damaged or something, then I'll send it back.
Right. So I would say, where is the world going? Unfortunately, in my purview of the world, consumers are impatient. They want everyone catering to them, and they want it now. And that puts pressure on everything from shipping. If you think about the amount that we spend on shipping and all of the fumes
emissions and all
the
that
emissions.
stuff.
And so when we consume so much so rapidly, we're hurting the world from a lot of different angles. We're hurting our local retailers because we're not driving down the street to shop in them. We're hurting brands because we're returning merchandise that cannot be consumed again. And we're hurting the earth because we're just sending too many packages everywhere.
Right.
So my ask is, in the way the world is going, do your part, get out there, shop local so that there is local to shop, right? Use your feet. Go out there, love on your small businesses. And to me, buy it and keep it. Be intentional. Guess what? If you drive to the local business and you try it on in the fitting room, you're not going to need to return it.
Exactly, because you tried it.
Now, I'm not against online shopping, as my company
Does that, yeah.
does that. But you know what? I got to tell you, the way I look at this, I was in Europe a couple weeks ago, and I bought this blouse from Fabienne Chapeau in a little boutique in London. I was like, this is such a great shirt. I'm going to see if it's available through my independent retailer so I can buy a couple more. So the way I did it was I bought in a boutique, but then I wanted more.
Right.
Because I was here in another country and I wanted to keep shopping it.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say I pick up a pair of jeans somewhere and then it's the end of the season, but I really love them and I want to make sure I can get another pair in case the brand doesn't make them again. I'm going to go online. I'm going to try to buy the pair again so I can make sure I get it. So I do my online shopping based on what I know works. Like you said, you know your brand, you know your size, you know you love it, it's your favorite item. That's how I purchase online, but I don't impulse purchase online. I'm really going back to stock up on what I know and love so I don't miss out on it.
What advice would you give someone who's afraid to start over?
You got nothing to lose, right? Like, what are you afraid of? Who do you think is looking at you? And does their opinion matter?
Well, I feel like it's sometimes also an ego thing too, right? Like
It is. You gotta let it go.
I think you're fighting yourself a lot of the time.
I agree. And I think, let's say there's a jar in front of us. And in this jar, there's all these cookies. So I have a mom cookie in the jar. I have a friend cookie in the jar. I have a CEO cookie in the jar. I have a karaoke queen cookie in the jar. Okay. I have a shell collecting cookie in the jar. And obviously I have a love of fashion and shopping cookie in the jar. Now, what happens here is, let's say one of these goes off tilt. I'm very happily married, but God forbid my wife cookie was taken out of the jar. That can shake you and your identity.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say my company didn't work out and we took my CEO cookie out of the jar. That could shake you. However, it's the moment you realize that you are not a cookie. You are the jar.
I love that.
That is when everything can change. And that is when you can reinvent yourself, because then it's just a matter of putting cookies in and taking cookies out of a jar, but it doesn't change you.
Love it. That's beautiful. Thank you for that advice. You spent so many years in retail. How has your personal style evolved?
It's interesting because much like those shoes, I'm extremely loyal to brands that I have an emotional or a story with, right? I would say brands that I bought in my store, I still buy today. Brands that I repped
I love that.
10, 15 years ago, I still buy today. So I am extremely loyal. Those things stay the same. But I would say over the years, my body has changed a lot.
Yeah,
and I definitely go through moods and eras. As a matter of fact, my 40th birthday is coming up next month, and I'm having a Melodie's Eras Tour birthday party.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, and everyone's going to come as a different version of me because there have been so many. But I would say overall, my style is presentable but approachable. I'm always going to wear something that makes someone stop,
I think that's awesome.
but still feel like they can walk up to me.
Yeah, it's not too much.
So I would say these days, I'm really into mesh. I'm really into corset tops. I love really anything with a sweetheart neckline, anything plunging, because I have a very small chest these days. And so, plunging neckline I find to be very attractive. It's just this mood, and I'll just get on a kick, and then everything in my closet will kind of be on that kick. And then when I'm done with it, I'll give it all away and I'll find the next kick. I don't have a big closet. But you know what? I'm an equal opportunity shopper. My daughter and I will go to Goodwill, where we live up north. We go to World Thrift as well. And then I'll obviously shop on Snagged and Bagged and buy from our retailers. I was just in Texas last week and I shopped 8 stores, just door to door, walking in and out of 8 different stores, because I love the experience of a boutique so much. And every time I go in there, I'm inspired. 3 of the stores on that block were sellers on Max Retail. So I got to support them live, talk to them.
That's so cool.
So yes, I shop absolutely everywhere.
Hey, it's not a bad thing.
At least my husband's finally gotten used to it after 18 years with me. He understands this is me, right? This is what I'm all about.
Stop shopping.
I'm not. I'm never going to stop.
That's you. I think that's awesome. Okay, well, tell us about these shoes, which look very comfortable, and they look really trendy and cool.
What you're looking at is Ilse Jacobsen, which is a Danish designer. And why these shoes are so special to me is the reps. It's a company called Lines of Denmark. And when I was a rep myself, I was at a trade show in Chicago. My husband was with me, and he goes over to another booth, and these guys offer him a Pabst Blue Ribbon, right? This beer. And my husband's having a beer with these guys, and he says, "Mel, you really got to meet these guys. They have some cool shoes." Well, they end up becoming friends. I had a boutique in South Florida, right? So I went from being a rep to being a retailer. They came down to Florida and they sold me these shoes in my boutique. I've probably sold thousands of pairs of these shoes.
Really?
In different colors. They are so darn comfortable. I've met the founder, Ilse, who unfortunately died of cancer a few years back. Absolutely wonderful woman. And when I started Max Retail, the reps that represent this line, they were cheering me on, and they still are today. The same people I met. And so I wear these shoes at every trade show out of loyalty, out of love, and out of comfort, all in one.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Melodie. All right, well, let's get into edition of this or that.
I love this.
Startup or storefront?
Startup.
Vintage or new?
New.
Sneakers or heels?
Sneakers.
Boutique or department store?
Boutique.
Coffee or champagne?
Coffee.
Risk or security?
Risk.
Yes, of course. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do all the reinvent yourself that many times, girl. Palm Beach or New York?
Palm Beach.
Business book or fashion magazine?
Business book.
Online shopping or in-store experience?
In-store experience.
Early mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Designer bag or meaningful jewelry?
Meaningful jewelry.
Big launch or quiet progress?
quiet progress.
Resale or retail?
Ooh, that's such a trick question for me. That's a trick question. I don't know. I need both. I'm so sorry. That's impossible for me to pick.
Legacy or lifestyle?
Oh my goodness, legacy all day long.
Legacy. Well, Melodie, thank you for sharing your amazing story. I think what makes your journey so inspiring isn't simply what you've built, that you built a successful company. It's that you're willing to begin again and that you're the jar. And I love that analogy. And you do it again and again, and you remind us that setbacks don't define us. It's good. It's actually good to do that. They're often the experiences that prepare us to solve problems no one else understands, right?
Absolutely.
And whether you're starting a business, changing careers, or rebuilding after disappointment, your story is proof that the path does not have to be perfect. It just has to be yours.
Absolutely. And can I say, no one wants to hear a story only of success.
That's true.
No one cares. No one's inspired if all you do is succeed.
That is true.
You inspire others by getting up again.
Well, it's so awesome to have you. And thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Good. I'm glad.